City, he had some experiences here. He was in a car accident where he hit a big piece of machinery down close to where we lived. And if it had been me in the car and I would have hit my head and cracked the windshield, the police would have called the ambulance for me. But instead of calling the ambulance, the police got Archie out of the car and assumed that he was DUI and took him downtown and wanted him to walk a white line down there. Well, Archie couldn't walk that white line because he could only see out of one eye. And his depth perception with that light shining in his face the way it was, he knew he couldn't do it. And so when he refused, the policeman shoved him. And so then Archie grabbed the policeman and got into a scuffle with him. And Archie said that they were scuffling and one of the other policemen was trying to grab him. He said he had the policeman and he was this far away from his gun and he stopped. And he said, I have to stop this because, yeah, I have to stop. And so he just backed up and backed off and they put him in jail and he called our attorney, Danielle, and went down and got him out of jail. But the reason he had hit the equipment was because this little kid had jumped off in front of him, in front of his car, and he hit the equipment instead of the kid. And so, yeah, so that was a blessing.
It was.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he probably told the officers what had happened. What were their reactions?
I don't know. I don't know if he was. I suppose that he tried to tell them, but they took him downtown.
Yeah, they don't listen.
Yeah, yeah. That was how one thing led to another. Yeah. Eventually, the case went to court. Eventually, and his attorney told him, well, that if you would go down and watch the videos. If this goes to a jury trial, the jury is going to be sympathetic to what happened here towards you. But Archie never went down to watch the tape. He let Danny Galvin handle it, and it never went to court. It was dropped and under a reckless driving charge. And so Archie's point of that was that he knew he wasn't driving reckless either, but he took that and said, okay, I'll accept that charge to give the other person an out, to give the police an out too. It was kind of like a truce.
Yeah, just leave it at that. He didn't want anyone to deal with.
Yeah, yeah, he didn't want to go through a jury trial.
And a lot of times, personally, I've been in a situation where I just, I'll leave it at that, I don't want to get into it more. Was there more times where Archie had to do that, where he had to call truce?
There was a time when he was out on the baseball field out at Riverside Park, and one of the kids said something to him. And I never knew what it was he said to him, but Archie quit that team and walked off the field. And that wasn't like Archie at all. I was totally shocked when I came home. And about half an hour later, all of the parents from the baseball team were up in the house, and they were talking to Archie. And they resolved whatever the issue was with the kid. Because Archie knew that when the child that said this, it was not a child's words. It was a parent's words. And but it was touched his heart so. He was so taken back by it, he came home, and he wasn't going to go back. Well, then the parents came up into the house and talked to him, and so he went back and he finished the season with the team. And the thing was he and the kid were okay. It wasn't,
Well, I'm sure it wasn't the kid's fault.
Well, it's what they're, it's things that they learn. Yeah. And they don't understand how it touches other people when they say it, or they don't know, unless things really get personalized. A lot of things are said that the other person doesn't give it the second thought to. how it can hurt somebody.
Now, being a coach, back to when we were talking about the baseball, being a coach, African American coach, did he get good feedback from the children as well? Because I know the children are young. It's just a coach, you know, it doesn't matter what race, it's just a coach.
No.
But how about the children's parents?
That was more of a general thing because, you know, you always run into parents who aren't happy about this or that or the playing time and that kind of stuff. And so that was more of a general, just things that every coach deals with. Archie spent Archie just loved being with the kids. He just loved spending his time there. And, you know, and a lot of the kids that he spent his time with were kids who didn't have parents too. He always had a car full of kids, taking them, you know. He always had a car full of kids.
Is there any more times where he got segregated or any other events?
The one thing that when he bought this diner, he bought it with the intention, this was his retirement plan, and he bought it with the intentions of fixing it up and playing his music here and enjoying it. And when he bought it, the city came in and put a red tag on it. And it just kind of, you know, it kind of took us back because there was no due process. You know, there was supposed to be a due process in before they even put the red tag on there. You're supposed to have a warning letter, and you're supposed to be able to draw up a plan before that red tag even comes up on the door. Well, they came in, and the red tag went up on the door, and you know, once your building is red tagged, it's very difficult to. Well, it's just when we get out of it, and it's difficult to get your business started. You know. So we had to write letters to the city to have them take that red tag off of there and present the plan, which is what should have happened in the first place, and the red tag was totally unnecessary.
Did it take a lot of work to get that?
Yeah, it took a lot of work to get that off. And the bad thing about it was that there were people in and out of here for 10 years prior who operated this under atrocious conditions who were never confronted or never called on it. You know, they were given their licenses with no questions asked.
So, if Archie was still here, what would he say about this project and to the young people, us young people? What would he say to us?
He would tell you that when you're confronted with bad situations, to keep on working at what you're doing. Do what you know is right to do, and don't give up. Don't give up.
What would be the best way to end the story about Archie?
To end this, you mean if you were doing videos?
To end the interview process, what would be the best way to end this and capture Archie?
To know that Archie was a very happy person. No matter what happened to him, he was a very happy person. He was content with himself. That he enjoyed life.
Well, this will conclude our interview, and I thank you so much for being with us.